So there's a couple of key points I need to mention for this video regarding the latest episode of Dragon Ball Super. We had a couple of fights in there. We had Gohan versus Krillin, we had Goku versus Krillin, and we had some cool shit towards the end of that fight as well. I guess the first question I want to pose to you guys is, are you more impressed with Krillin as a character, with his power and his capabilities and how he came in swinging and was giving some serious trouble to Goku and Gohan? Or are you more disappointed in a sense of the fact that Gohan and Goku were somewhat struggling against Krillin? I want to say Super Saiyan Blue, Goku really wasn't struggling that much, but aside from that, I'm really curious what people think about it, because on one hand, me personally, I'm like, yo, is it just me, or has anyone else noticed that these episodes leading up to the actual Tournament of Power, whenever we have like these filler feeling type of episodes with Krillin, it always is a pretty damn good episode for Krillin. It always gives some good development, some good insight into his character, and even some good insight into his relationship with 18 and how much she truly cares for him. So I'm like, Krillin putting in work? He actually bested Gohan? I'm like, good shit, Krillin. Then on the other hand, I mean, for starters, on Gohan's side, I'm like, Gohan, what the fuck was that? There are arguments you could throw in there. For starters, you could say no matter what, Gohan and Goku are both kind of holding back. You could throw in the argument Gohan's still kind of rusty. He hasn't really had that many fights, and he's been out of commission for so long that he's really not at his peak of, you know, what he once was. You could argue a couple of different things. That just bottom line, he really wasn't going in against Krillin like he should have. And also, I guess you could argue that Krillin caught him off guard with the solar flare, which maybe I just never really seen it in the Japanese version, but I don't really remember a solar flare times 100. Again, I might just not know of it because I haven't seen those particular portions where it was mentioned in the Japanese version of the show, so maybe that's my bad of not seeing that, but I thought that was kind of interesting and cool to see a level up from just a normal solar flare to times 100. I was like, oh shit, good shit. But again, back to Gohan, is like, ooh, do I get upset about Gohan's power, or do I get impressed with Krillin? Likewise with Goku, and it's not that I'm even going to be disappointed in him because we know what Goku is, but it's like the power scaling is a bit ridiculous to a certain degree when Krillin is keeping up to a certain degree, a small degree, but nevertheless it was there when Super Saiyan Blue, Goku, and Krillin are having that Kamehameha battle, and Krillin is kind of somewhat holding his own for a small portion of the time. I'm like, that should be no way. Like, you know, the second that blast hit Krillin's blast should have just went flying. So I'm like, it's awesome again for Krillin because it showcases like he's ready. He can do this. Krillin is no weakling, and we know it's been established for many, many years. I believe it was in one of the guidebooks or something like that, that Krillin is the strongest Earthling. So, okay, good shit. Strongest human being. Good shit. I shouldn't say Earthling because Goku considers himself an Earthling, but strongest human being. Good shit. But I don't know how I felt about that, to be honest with you. I was a little bit on the, it doesn't seem that believable for Krillin to be able to do some of these things. I felt when Goku went Super Saiyan, he was already cheating. Like, bro, fight him in base form. That's the best you can do to have a decent fight. When he went Super Saiyan, I'm already like, ooh. And I mean, good on Krillin with the strategy as well. When he broke the building under Goku's feet and shit, I'm like, Krillin can put some work in, and that's, I guess, the experience that you need in fighters for a type of fight of what we're about to embark on. You know, the Tournament of Power is a big battle royale. You're gonna need strategy. So in that regard, I can understand why Goku would say, oh shit, we need somebody like Krillin over a Goten and Trunks, because they don't really have that type of strategy, especially Goten. Goten just be like, you know, I'm just gonna swing. So I understand where Krillin comes from with the experience and why he is a capable fighter. And I guess this episode overall as a whole showcased that Krillin is good for the Tournament of Power, but it was at the cost of the credibility and the believable aspect of like Krillin really putting in that much work. And hold on, we need to just give this clap right now. Best Girl 2017. At first I was like, yo, it gotta be Videl. It gotta be Videl. But now I'm having second thoughts, because while Videl was like a down ass chick, she's like, nah, my man ain't cheating on me, fuck you. I was like, yo, Videl, I see you, girl, I see you. But then 18, like, this episode really showcased she legitimately cares about Krillin. She legitimately loves him. Like, when she came in with the kick, and then she was like, nah, you're my husband. You know, we're going to do this together. The match ain't over. We're going to 2-on-1 this motherfucker right now. I was like, Goku, you piece of shit, why are you stopping this fight right now? Like, what are you doing? This shit looks exciting. So I was a little bit upset that Goku stopped the fight, but nevertheless, it just shows how awesome and how down, like, I feel as though Dragon Ball Super, regarding the woman, I mean, even Chi-Chi to a certain degree has been showcasing them as really good women. Like, even Chi-Chi, yeah, okay, in the Universe 6 arc, I gotta add in there that Chi-Chi, she was doing some things, you know what I'm saying? Like, when Goku was injured, she was running out there, she showed she cared, so good on that as well, even with Chi-Chi, but just as a whole, Dragon Ball Super has been doing some good things that it's not really in Z, because again, Z is just such an epic. It's always like one thing leading to another. We never get these downtime type of deals except in some of the filler and filler, yeah, but like we never really get those moments and shit like that. So to see this in these Super episodes, which even though they feel like filler, it's still canon to the anime. It's definitely, you know, canon to the story in general. The manga is just so different now with a lot of different things that is like, yeah, with the anime, this happened, okay? I'm saying it happened. So it's interesting to just see the relationships. And again, 18, I wanted to see that so bad. And also Goku. I think in these times of peace, Goku's just kind of been a little bit too much on that hype train of fighting. Because with Marin, a little girl, bro, that's a little girl. She's like, oh, my mom and dad won. And he's like, no, hold on, they didn't win, bro. Like, I'm like, stop being so petty, bro. Like, what are you doing? As a whole, honestly, it was good for Krillin development. And again, like I said earlier, Krillin development has been awesome in Dragon Ball Super. It's showcasing he's not a fucking waste of time and he's worthy of being involved. And one of the things as well I want to talk about, 18 suspicions regarding what all this is about. And I think towards the beginning of the tournament, or somewhere in the beginning of the tournament, everybody is eventually going to be hip to things. Because I mean, Goku can't even keep up this line, which, by the way, real quickly, Goku line, what's up with that? Like, yo, I think Quinto Un, Nimbus, he ain't gonna be able to ride that shit no more. I mean, granted, maybe you could argue he has the mind of a child to a certain degree, and he doesn't realize, like, he's lying, but he's more like fibbing, but he shouldn't be able to ride Nimbus after that, okay? Like, you're tricking people into going into a fight that if they lose, and you're not even telling them, if they lose, everyone that they care about and their entire home planet is gone, and their entire universe is gone. So, Goku, you want to fill them in on that? Just, you know, give them just a little bit, you know, a little bit of information, like, hey, you might die. Like, yeah, motherfucker, tell them, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn. And as a whole, honestly, really good episode for the most part. The power scaling is questionable. I didn't really care for seeing Goku Super Saiyan Blue having even the smallest of struggle against Krillin. It's just like, it shouldn't happen. The Gohan thing is like, please, within these episodes, we have 38 hours as of the end of this episode. Use those 38 hours. Go train with Piccolo. Again, go train, period. Get your ass. Like, everybody, including Krillin, should be getting in the hyperbolic time chamber. Like, right fucking now. We got 38 hours. You got a whole day. Just jump in there. Train your heart away. You know, bribe Whis with some fucking cake and some candy so he can help you guys achieve some God Key as well. And we're golden. You know what I'm saying? Because if Gohan is getting tricked and bodied out there by Krillin, I mean, again, maybe you were holding back and all that shit, but it's Krillin, bro. Props to Krillin, but it's Krillin. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, honestly, again, good episode for the most part. I want to say 7.5 around there. It's like, it was an enjoyable episode again. It did some good things for Krillin. It did even, again, some good things for Krillin's relationship, which you never thought in a million years you'd be saying that, right? Like, Dragon Ball Super really dives into the areas that Super, or shall I say Z, never really dove into. The original Dragon Ball, it didn't really dive into relationships either because there really weren't that many. It was like, what? We have Bulma and Yamcha, maybe a couple other that escape my memory at the moment, but we didn't really have relationships to dive into to begin with. And then Z, we had moments here or there, but it was never like this. With Super, having these extra moments, yeah, some people would argue, fuck this, bring me to the tournament, I don't care, which we're still going to have quite a few episodes away because 17 was mentioned, and we got to continue to recruit as many people as we can get to get that 10-man army. So we still have a ways to go, but I like these episodes, and I think these episodes are good, and this is something that the Dragon Ball franchise as a whole, for the story and for the characters, need from time to time. You can't always have the big threat coming, train, fight. Big threat coming, train, fight. It's like, in Z it was cool and shit, but it makes for better storytelling when you have these build-ups and you get to dive into the characters when they're not in complete fucking chaos trying to fight for their lives, which I guess they technically are on the verge of that, But yeah, I like these moments. I think it does some good. Now, regarding 17, I mean, you know, we need him. It's clear as day we fucking need him, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how they can find him. I do think there's a fallacy in there as well of how then they can find... I mean, I guess then they can just see everything on Earth because he's the guardian of the Earth, or he's God, whatever, you know, he's the kami of Earth, whatnot. So I guess in that regard, maybe that's how he can see 17 and find 17, opposed to what they, you know, they can't sense him because he's an android, right? So maybe that's why it would make sense. But I mean, he shouldn't be able to sense 17 because 17's a robot, or not a robot, an android. You get what I'm saying? Like, so that's kind of a little bit like, maybe it's his godly powers of like what Kami could do. He could just see down there, and that's how they're gonna use it. But it's gonna be interesting to see how they find 17. And with all that being said, again, 7.5, really good shit on Krillin. Gohan, what the fuck you doing? The power scaling is a little bit wonky, and I'm kind of like, it's Krillin! It's Krillin! Fuck's sake, it's Krillin! But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you want more from me, make sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.